it's Comic Artist Pro Secrets, and I'm Ethan Van Sciver. Welcome to my office and to a few sheets of paper that I have sitting in front of me and my pencil. I'm reading your messages, and a lot of you are talking about how much you enjoyed yesterday's Brutally Honest Portfolio review, specifically since it contained a couple of lessons, perspective lessons. Which were appreciated. I mean, apparently we really do need to just keep going over perspective, and I keep needing to kind of make it more and more clear and try different ways to explain it, because this is one of those things that it's like algebra was for me. It's like you can explain it one way and I will not understand it, but it just needs to be explained in 3 or 4 different ways, and finally it'll click. So that's kind of what we're doing here. We're going to attempt to re-explain the horizon line and what it means and what it is and what it does. Yesterday there was one panel, it was a splash page, where the characters on the page were about 3 heads beneath the horizon line. And I said, okay, that means everyone is 3 heads beneath the horizon line. And a lot of people thought that was like a new rule, like the 3-head rule, somebody called it. And I went, no. It's just about consistency. All right, so let's talk about the horizon line again. Let's just make sure that people understand this. And I'm going to do some examples that will hopefully make things clear. Now, first of all, one thing that you need to understand about doing a drawing is that when you draw a panel like this, okay, this is the person's field of view. When you use your eyes and you look straight ahead, you kind of have a field of vision, don't you? I mean, there's some peripheral vision that happens over here, but it's kind of like it's blurry, it's fuzzy. It's hard to really make out what's going on over there, and that's fine. We can kind of ignore that. It would be really hard to do a drawing with peripheral vision included. So most people don't do that. They just kind of do, hey, this is the window that you're seeing, your eyeballs are inside your skull and they're looking out a window. This is the kind of window that you are seeing. You're witnessing the world. Now the horizon line. The horizon line is, and I've said it a few times, but I want to make this clear. The horizon line is where the Earth, okay, this is the ground. I want you to picture, you're flying in an airplane or something like that, and you just see, you can see the ground below, farmland, real small. You see a little baseball field over here, okay? This is the Earth. This is the sky right here, okay? Earth, sky. This is the sun in the sky. This is the horizon line. This is the point where you can see no further. You can't see any more ground. Amazingly, and this is a true fact, it doesn't matter where you are, wherever your eye line is. And try this. Go outside in real life and just notice that the horizon line, if you were to just look at, say, the beach, if you're going to go stand by the beach where the horizon line is very clear, this is all water, and this is the sun, this is the sky. You can see the horizon line clear as day. As we go, into the big city or something like that, these buildings kind of obscure the horizon line, so we can no longer see it. We just see buildings rising up above the horizon line. But if you were just to go where there is nothing, a flat field or the ocean, you would just see this horizon line. And it is always at your eye line. It is impossible for you to go anywhere, to move anywhere, and not have the horizon line be at your eye line. All right? You can lay down on your belly, you can jump in the air, and this is all about perspective. It's a rule of perspective. The higher you go, the horizon line will rise up to meet your eye line. And the lower you go, the horizon line will lower to meet your eye line. Even if you dug away at the Earth here, okay, and let's just say that you were, this is like a crazy scenario, but let's just say that you dug away at the Earth and you kind of cut the Earth in half, and your eye line was right here. So you're actually looking at dinosaur bones and blah blah blah, all this crazy stuff in the earth. You're thinking, but Ethan, the horizon's up here, isn't it? Wrong. The earth has a curve. The horizon line is still at your eye line. If you cut this away, you would still see, that's where you would see the sky and the sun. Okay? The horizon line always meets your eye line. All right. That's crazy. We don't need to think about that. We just need to think about things in terms of drawing. But it is a true fact. Again, remember this. Your perspective, from your point of view, the horizon is at your eye line. Now, if somebody next to you is lying on their belly, they're saying, oh, the horizon line's down here with me. And you're saying, no, I'm standing up. The horizon line's up here with me. Both of you are right. All right. It's ridiculous. All right, so here's our field of view. Here's our field of vision. Now, when composing a panel, all that really matters when you start is where you're putting the camera. And the camera represents your eye line. This is like filming a movie. If you were going to draw a scene, if you were going to film a scene, I should say, of a city street and cars going down the street and people walking down the street, you can decide where you're going to put your camera. Are you going to put your camera down on the ground and shoot people's kind of feet as they walk away? Or are you going to put your camera kind of up in the sky a little bit, and that way you'll see more road and streets and cars coming from a far distance? Where are you putting your camera? That is the horizon line. That your camera is going to be on the horizon line because that is the viewer's point of view. Your camera is standing in now for my eyes. Okay, if I were there, my head is where your camera is, essentially. So, that is the key. Now, let's say we're doing just what I described, and we're going to put the camera kind of high in the air. This is our field of view. All right, this is our panel. So let's say the camera is all the way up here. Okay, we're going to draw a horizon line right here. All right. Now, by putting the horizon line this high in the air, we're basically saying our camera is high in the air, and therefore we're going to see a lot of what's below. Conversely, if we were to put our camera low on the ground, as if we were resting it on the street and just filming whatever we saw, essentially we would see a lot of the sky. We'd see a lot of what's above the horizon line. We'd see a lot of buildings towering off into the sky. We'd see, if the horizon line were down here, that would mean that's where the earth met the sky, which means somebody walking by, you would see their foot right on the horizon line as they walk by. And then somebody further away into the distance, their foot would also be on the horizon line, like this. Okay, so picture this being someone's foot, someone's boot, okay? Like this. There's someone's foot sitting there, if this were our horizon line. This person way off in the distance would also have his foot right on the horizon line in the same way. Okay? They would always meet. They would meet in the same place. I have to flip this over now. All right. I try not to waste paper. I'll use both sides. All right, let's do that again. So the horizon line is where we all correlate to each other. If we're all standing on the ground, if we're all around the same size, which we all are, a few inches give and take. So let's put our camera way up here. This is where the horizon line is now. Now just look at this for a second and just imagine that this here is the sky and this here is the ground. Okay? You can already see we're looking down mostly at the ground, and we're going to see a lot of stuff here depending on how high up we are. If we were really high up in the sky, we would see tiny little buildings down here, etc., etc. All right, but let's just say we're not. Let's just say the camera is sitting on a lamppost or something like that. And we're going to put a vanishing point right here. We're going to do 1 point perspective. That's not a vanishing point. That's a flaw with the paper. Let's just put, this is our vanishing point. All right. Everything is going to recede to that vanishing point. Like so. All right, and we'll go ahead. We'll do we'll do a loose grid, but we'll do all angles of the grid. Okay, so this is our perspective grid. Our horizon line is high up in the sky. Now let's just say that we want to draw a person, and we want to show, because this is the horizon line and we're looking down on them, we want them to be down here. Here's his head. Let's give him some nice glasses. Why not? Yeah. Hey, how you doing? Here's a dude walking down the street, and let's give him a necktie. And, oh, this is just gorgeous. Yeah. All right. So here's our dude, and he is carrying a human skull. I don't know why. And yeah. All right. So here's our guy walking down what we now assume we can kind of see is a street. So let's just kind of say, oh yeah, look, this is a street. See the sidewalk is kind of divided like this. Over here, there could be cars, I don't know. Kind of sketch those in, following the perspective grid. Is this a PT Cruiser or what is this? I don't know what this is. It's not a PT Cruiser. Just loose cars. Just scribbling them in. Okay. All right, so look at this guy in relation to the horizon line. As you can see, he is about, that's his head measurement, 2 heads below the horizon line. Now, because we have measured that, we've realized that he is 2 heads below the horizon line. Anyone else that we want to draw to this, who is going to be the same height and standing on the same plane as this gentleman, is also going to be 2 head measurements, their own head measurement, not his head measurement, 2 of their own head measurements from the horizon line. So if we want to draw a guy way back here, 1, 2. Okay, here's another fella right here. He is 2 head measurements, just like he is 2 head measurements from the horizon line. And now he looks like he's standing on the same road as this guy is. Now we want to draw someone even bigger in the foreground. Let's say 1, 2, right here. Okay. Here's another guy with glasses. He might have a human skull in his hands too. I don't really know. Here's another guy with glasses, and he's closer to us now, and he is also, I don't know, maybe I got this a little bit wrong. No, I got it right. About 2 heads. 2 heads from the horizon line. And this means that they all look like they are standing on the same flat ground because of that. We could do a guy way back here. Here's another little guy. He's 2 heads from the horizon line. Now, that's arbitrary. We could have started with this guy and made him way down here and made him 4 heads from the horizon line. But we selected to put him here. We measured 2 heads, and then everyone else that we need to draw in there is also going to correlate to the horizon line the same way that he does. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. Okay, so this horizon line is a thing of magic, isn't it? It's a thing of magic because it always follows our eye line, always. And this works in real life. I mean, I want you to go out there and just stand somewhere and find the horizon line, and then notice how the people that you see around you are all kind of the same relationship to the horizon line as each other. This horizon line works any different way. I mean, you could just put the horizon line right down the middle and say a guy is cut right at his waist like this. That means the guy down here is also going to be cut at his waist. That means a guy much bigger, up, let me see if I can sketch this in. Up here is also going to be cut at his waist. They're all, and a guy real far away, cut at his waist by the horizon line. Now we see that this is the ground, this is the sky. I mean, it could have been any way. We could have just gotten rid of these guys and said, okay, they are cut at their ankles on this horizon line. Here's a guy, he's cut across his ankles. That would mean that someone way in the foreground here, like here's one of those Old West standoffs. If he's cut at the ankles there, this guy way in the foreground, we're seeing between his 2 feet, he is also going to be cut at the ankles the same way he is on the same horizon line. These are 2 different images. Don't get them confused, okay? These do not work together. This is one image. This is another image. But it just goes to show that the horizon line is consistent. Wherever you place it, you make a decision where people are going to relate to it in terms of your perspective, and everyone has to relate to it the same way together, okay? I hope that clears things up a little bit. Let me think. Yeah, if you guys have any more questions, I mean, questions are really, really helpful because then I can do little videos that kind of answer them. Let me see here. Yeah, okay, that'll be it for now. We're going to get into another perspective lesson on a different subject in a different video. Thanks, guys. Take care. Bye.
In the ATL, that's my homeboy. Watch your back if you're gonna walk alone, boy. Cause everybody in the homeboys tryna get rich. You could get hit even if you know 'em, boy. We the kings of the South. Pies in the oven, grills in the mouths. Count stacks is a usual norm. College Park, Bank Head, where the hustle was born. So peace up and